Well, good afternoon, Shannon. How are you today?
I am doing great. I am so happy to be here with you, Rashad.
I am glad to have you on. Today, I love speaking with authors. I really love speaking with people who have um, something that they want to teach the world, get out to the world. And you are doing it in the sense of getting a message out to the youth and to the younger generation. And that is so awesome. And I'm glad to have you on the show today so we can discuss that, what you're doing, what you're currently doing, what you'll be doing in the future. But first and foremost, let's start with the past. Let's start with what it is in your generation that you are showing these younger generation kids. Where are you pulling that from?
Absolutely. So I am, and so is Rashad, the wonderful Generation X, the best. And I love it. And we always brag so much about playing. And that is really, anytime I think about my youth, and I just want everybody that's listening right now to think about your favorite memories, probably from age 6 to 12, if you can, if you're not driving, if you can shut your eyes and think about your favorite memory. I almost can guarantee you that it has something to do with being outside playing with friends. It's not being on your Nintendo or in television. That's me aging myself, but I already said it was Gen X, but it's going to be something that you were doing with your friends. And it occurred to me that with the tech heavy play tech heavy childhood that kids have today, that we are taking away their opportunity to have the memory that you just thought of. And that is heartbreaking to me. So that is the mission I am on now, is to help the youngest generation right now go from a tech based childhood back to the play based childhood that we had. And love the Gen X thing. We're kind of, we're loud, we're proud of everything, and we're always bragging about our childhood. And I think it's on us now to help the parents of today give kids the childhood that we brag about. So I want to help these young parents have access to ideas for playing and access to tools that help them compete with technology, because it is awesome that we had play, but our parents didn't have the technology that they have to compete with. So that is my heart. I can't imagine a childhood 75% on screens like kids are right now. So that's where I'm coming from.
I get it. I get it. Most definitely. My childhood memories are from outside. I,
Yeah.
I actually seen there is discourse on, I think I was on X the other day, but I see it a lot on social media. And it's the younger generation asking, and they're sincere in their ask. And the question is, so you guys are serious? Your parents used to just let you go outside and not worry about you till the
Yeah.
lights came on?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so interesting now if you think about that. So our parents did that. They let us go outside. We played ghost in the graveyard, come up just completely eaten by mosquitoes. I'm from the Midwest. But it was super fun. And what's interesting is I've been doing my research on this. Our parents let us go out and do all that. Now parents are so freaked out. They're not letting their kids go out, and they're kind of a helicopter, like watching them all the time. Yet they have barely any supervision with them online. Now, what do you think is more dangerous for kids? Being out
Right.
online with no supervision or out in the backyard, right? So that's
Exactly.
that's very interesting to me. But yeah, and that's what I was kind of joking, but not. We brag about it and they don't believe it. But you and I love thinking about that. We love bragging about it because it was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. And the reason, if I can kind of move forward with this, the reason I got into this is because when I met my stepkids, so I'm a stepmom, and when I met my stepkids, I was 31 years old, and I instantly am with these kids, and they were 4, 8, and 10. And so I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to be so cool, right? I'll just tell them to go out and play because that's what I knew. So I tell these 3 little kids to go out and play, and within 5 minutes, and I'm not kidding, they came back in and they said, Miss Shannon, we don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I was devastated for them. Um, and at the time, I was in corporate America. I was doing communication campaigns. I was a communication consultant. So when a company was doing something like a stock exchange, outsourcing, signing up for your benefits, I would go in and help them communicate internally. And it was fine. But the best thing that I was doing, we started doing wellness programs. So helping people stop smoking, take better care of themselves. I really found a lot of joy in that. That was really awesome for me because I was actually changing people's lives. And at that time, I remember thinking, shouldn't we just grow people up with these with these habits? Wouldn't that be the thing? It's like going to the doctor preventively, instead of when you're sick. So I was thinking that. And at that very same time, it was a God moment. I meet these little kids and they're having this problem. And at the time, I'm thinking, so it was my boyfriend at the time. I'm thinking that something's wrong with him and his ex wife. Like, what have they done with these children? But I ended up doing research and it was all kids. And this was back in 2008. And all kids were having a hard time playing because the screens were taking away from their experiences. They were, especially with the older ones, these were younger, but older ones are comparing themselves to people online and they were way too scheduled. And I got really concerned about it. So I left corporate America and my husband and I started a company back then. There's a whole reason I'm starting it up again now, but that was 2008. We started the company. Long story, really short. We built a website, and the whole idea for the website was to put real life activities out there, but tie them to points because people do anything for points. And that's how the wellness programs worked that I did. I like, even me, like if I go to Chase and I spend money on my credit card, I get excited that I get points from that. Yeah, it's my own money. So I had learned through corporate communication, like people are driven by points. So we built this website that there's these activities out there, the kids can get points from them, and then the parents can reward them. And I can explain more about that later. Unfortunately, back then we built this website and we spent all this, did an investor raise and everyone's real excited about it. And we came out with the website right at the same time apps came out. So it was just a miss. Also, being a new entrepreneur, I know you've got entrepreneurs who listen. We decided to go out with this huge idea and try to explain to people what it was. And our coaches at the time said, no, you got to go out with one thing. You got to go out with one thing, prove it, and then go. We didn't listen because that's what you do sometimes when you're a new entrepreneur. And so we closed the doors back in 2015. But also, Rashad, because my husband's divorce was not any divorce is good, but it was contentious, and the kids ended up being with us. And it's such a long story, but my husband had to take a job in Indiana. I was in Chicago with the kids, and their mom was in California. So I joke, but I was a single stepmom. So I couldn't be a business owner and do right by these kids. So I ended up shutting this down for other reasons too. But the cool thing about that is at the time, and I want everybody to hear this, I felt like such a failure because I'd left a really great corporate America job. I failed, quote unquote, at an entrepreneurial job. And now I'm just a stay-at-home mom, right? Absolutely not. That was the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life. I got to actually raise these three kids. I got to test my knowledge of my activities on them, and it does work. And I now am coming back out to you guys with 17 years of being a parent, where before I could empathize with how hard it was, but now I can sympathize because I fought with technology that whole time and I got to be a mom. So I just want to tell everybody nothing's a failure. There's a reason you're going through everything. And now I'm a seasoned parent and an entrepreneur who listens to my coaches. So that's my backstory.
The listen part is imperative, right?
Yes, it really is.
We all grow, young entrepreneurs will try anything. But I don't know what is the saying? There's a silver lining to every cloud.
Yeah.
And it is good that you have the experience now and you were able to even test your own theories.
Yes.
And be able to roll it back out as a business.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. I think your story is awesome. Let's get into the business and what you're currently doing and how you're rolling it out and how it's showing up.
Okay. So As I came back out with this, so I have children's books, and I'll just give a brief synopsis of them. Basically, when we started this company, I wanted the kids to have something that would draw them to it. So I wrote 6 books in a year. That was insane because it came from technical writing to writing children's books. I wrote them very fast, but the characters were the pets that my husband and I had throughout our life. So that was really fun. And what I did is I told stories that taught values, and then at the end, I gave plot twists. And then I put these activities that I keep talking about, I put those in there. And I wanted the parents and the kids to have a way to start getting into this. And then the activities had points and they could go to the website and get the points. Well, 2020 rolls around. I know that's a big change for everybody. My kids are, my youngest is going to college. I never loved my books, Rashad. So I was like, you know what? This is the time to pick them back up, really dive into the best way to write a children's book, edit them, and get them back out there. And it was a really fun experience for me. And the other thing I wanted to say is, even though I closed this business like several years before, I never ever stopped dreaming about it or feeling like I should do it. So it was one of those things that I was like, I have to pick this back up. And what's interesting is the thing I was scared about in 2008 happening to kids is now proven to have happened. There's books written about what's going on with our kids. So there's a statistic out right now that since 2010, major depression in girls is up 145%, and in boys it's up 161%, and they're tying it to screens. So unfortunately, the thing that I thought was going to happen happened, but fortunately for the business, and that sounds horrible, but I now have books written, I have statistics, and I can say, hey guys, like we actually need to get them off screens. So 2020, I rewrite the books, I put them out there, send them to principals and all this stuff. So like, yeah, we love this concept. So I put the books out there, Rashad, but they didn't have the points anymore because I don't have the website. And so I kept getting this thing like, no, you got to do the points. You got to do the points. So what I'm doing now, like right now, it is what day is it? It's July 9th.
Nah.
July 8th, I just talked to my app developer and we are starting this again and we're doing it the right way this time. So we're coming out with the app. It is literally just going to be uh, activities. And because a person is a mind, heart, and body, all the activities are tied to mind, heart, and body points. So if you, and I'm going to give you an example of how it works. So let's say you are a busy mom and you have 3 kids and you had lunch with your girlfriends and it went late and you come home. And what happened to me with this is that my kids, because they were on screens all the time, I call it the imagination muscle, it had atrophied. So even if I gave them one activity, they'd only be outside for so long. So they would come back in and be like, now we want something else. So I ended up being like the imagination station for them. And so I'd go on Google or Pinterest at the time, and I would just be so overwhelmed with all of the ideas. And then I also be kind of overwhelmed with how perfect a lot of the people look doing them. Have you ever seen the Food Network show Nailed It? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No,
Okay,
I
it's
can't. I
bas
can't say I did.
oh gosh, it's basically these people who can't cook, they show them like a really brilliant thing that someone made, and then they try to repeat it, and it's called Nailed It because it looks nothing like that. It's really bad. Okay, but that's how I was with the crafts. I was like, "Oh, nailed it." It looked nothing. My kids were like, "Wow." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Miss Shannon needs something that is super simple, low activity, that is really fun for you guys." So that's where I started coming up with this. So back to the app. That's what the app is. So, oh, and one other thing. When I got tired, Rashad, what happened is I was like, I can't come up with any more activities. And what do? I hand them the screen. Ugh, right? So I don't want people to feel that. So you're the mom, you come home, you want to make dinner, you've got your 3 kids, they're kind of being brats to each other. So you go on the app and you say, I have 3 kids, I need an hour, and I want them to do hard activities. And the app will go, here's 10 ideas. And they're tied to points. And so if all 3 of your kids, let's say they love to stay up 5 minutes late, you say, kids, this activity is worth 100 points. And if you finish it, you can cash it in to stay up 5 minutes late. And that's
Mm.
the idea of it. And so if you could do it every day, you just come home, you pick something, and as the kids start playing, they're going to start developing that imagination muscle. And that's the idea behind it. And the activities, they have the main activity, there's extra challenges, and then my favorite part of the activities that have them, there's a things to talk about. So the kids come back to mom and dad and there's questions. So like if they do it before dinner, you actually have a list of questions to ask the kids, and they're tied to points. So they're like, oh, I'll do it. But it's not the like, what'd you do today? Nothing. You know, that conversation. How was it? Fine. So now it's like, hey, I saw you did the five senses scavenger hunt. Let's talk about it. So
Right.
that was, to me, a really cool way to have parents tell their stories, talk to their kids. And as I said, my books that now will have points in them, I teach lessons like persistence pays off and love makes all the difference. But then they can do the activities and they can instill their values into their kids. So I'm kind of giving them a platform to do that. So my whole idea here is really I want to help this generation, like the kids in their 20s right now, they grew up on technology. So this is even harder for them to come up with the activities than it was for me. So I want them to have this. I want them to have the points to like positively manipulate their children, just like Santa Claus. And then just this gives them something that they can do. And as I said, as the kids do it, they're going to want to do it more because they're getting their rewards and they're going to build up this imagination muscle. So that's how it works.
That is a great idea. That is a great concept.
Thank you.
Um, and I hope you get it in the hands of. There's so much that these kids need to learn, like
Yeah.
really, even with communication.
Yeah.
And I love the part where you said that the parents will have something to discuss or talk about because there's not a lot of common ground between
No,
a
there's not.
parent, especially a parent from like Generation X or older millennials to the generation coming up now on
Yeah.
technology.
Right.
There's
Well,
really
it's so interesting, Rashad. When I was researching this back in 2008, the reason there's such a big, broad uh, divide in generations now is because of technology, because it's going so much faster.
yeah,
So we really have a hard time understanding them and communicating them. And that was one of the things that my husband and I looked into. Like, yeah, we need to give each other something to talk about because we're just,
yeah.
yeah, we're just on a different. It's a different thing. It's going so much faster.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
I would like to know. So I understand. I think now is the time that the older millennials they are having children and having families right now. But then you
Mhm.
have the younger millennials who you just mentioned.
Yeah.
That the older millennials have a little bit of they were the technology was just now coming in when they were so they had a little bit of I'll call it normalcy.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
the younger millennials that will be next up to have parents, and then what is it, Generation Z? How will
Yeah.
you reach them? Because well, how will you teach those parents how to communicate when they only know technology? They don't even like you would have
Yeah.
to teach them too, right?
Yeah, this has been really fun for me. So those though that generation because of what happened to them. So Gen Z is I want to say 95. I may have that a little wrong through 2010 or something like that. So they were the first generation to go through puberty on social media. So just
Okay.
imagine how awful that was for them. Like
Yeah.
puberty is hard enough. Now you're watching all these people out there and you're trying to be perfect and making sure everything you say is nice and then just awful. So a lot of those kids, and now they're not kids, they're in their 20s now, they are adamant that their kids are not going to get a smartphone until they're like 16 because they saw what happened to them. So I think I have to talk to them, but and that's one of my learning thing. We're going to come out with this app at first and have it free for a while, and I'm going to ask for feedback because I want to know what will help them. But they're longing for it. But the problem is the divide, Rashad, because we know how it's like to have the play. They don't. So they're wanting this for their kids, but they don't have the background. So that's why I think it's imperative for us, Gen Xers, to be like, hey guys, we'll give you some ideas. So that's how I'm going with it. But this is also going to take this is a village. This is not like one person in the neighborhood starts doing that. To your point, about being, I think you said on X, and they're like, oh, your parents actually let you stay outside. Well, now there's all this. We had stranger danger, but now people are freaked out about letting their kids out. So I think if you can get a couple families in the neighborhood doing stuff like this, they've got the Fassa app. It's called Planet Fassa. If they've got the Fassa app, they can be like, hey, let's say Rashad and I live on the same, the same block. And I said, hey, Rashad, I see that you guys are trying to do this. How about one Tuesday a month, I'll sit in the window and watch the kids play if you take the second Tuesday in the month. So then we have like a little bit of comfort. But the good thing is with that, when we start doing that, the kids get more autonomy and we get more confident. So that will start building that, letting them go out a little more again. But also, if Rashad's and my kids are out there, another neighbor is going to see it and they're going to be like, hey, I want my kids in. And so now we've got 3 Tuesdays a month. You see what I'm saying? So it's going to have to be locking arms. But I think it will be a relief for these parents because seeing your kids outside playing is joyful and you get to
Yeah.
know them when they do it. And I'm going to go back to something you said, Rashad. I can't remember exactly how you said it, but you were saying like kids don't know how to communicate. I haven't even touched on this, but kids cannot grow up as socially functional adults without play. They
Yeah.
have to actually play, and human development needs interaction. So you've got those two things. Plus, brain research is showing that these kids being on the screens is rewiring their brains. So this is a literal problem. This is an experiment that we did on our kids that has not gone well. And I like to say to people, and this is hard hitting, but when we found out cigarettes weren't good, we stopped smoking them, right? So like I want to say like social media is the cigarette of today for kids. Like don't hand it to them. It's on so many different levels not good for them. And the other thing I want to say is I want to make sure people understand this. I'm not screen free. I'm screen light because the parent is going to be holding this app. I want the kids to see mom and dad look at the app, get something good off of it, and then tell them to go back in the real world because Rashad and I are on technology right now. This is awesome. There's podcasts, they're awesome. There's a lot of stuff that you can learn from the internet. AI can be awesome. So the kids have to learn technology. We can't just like have them off of technology and then at like age 16 be like, have fun, they'll be lost. So that's why this is a thing that they see technology, they see they can use it as a tool, as something they do, not all they do. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Um, Not all that they do.
Yeah.
I like how you put that because it's almost like they transition into that thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's I call them zombies.
Yeah.
For lack of a better word, it's like that's all that they know. It is. I like your idea about how parents can agree. And I will say this. I will actually say, I don't know if it's the parents or if it's happening naturally, but I know this to be true because when I go outside, like you say, seeing kids outside is joyful.
Yeah.
Even other people's kids,
Mm-hmm.
it's reminiscent of good times. And I love to see a kid riding down, my block on his
Right.
bike.
Or hearing them giggle, it's just fantastic. It's good
Yeah,
for your soul.
definitely. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
like, wow, that's
Yeah.
a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
But I will say that I'm seeing that more. I have begun to see it more. Kids are outside when I
Wonderful.
walk outside these days. So I'm like, I don't know if it's naturally progressing in that way because there's only so much I feel like.
Yeah. I think there's, like I said, I think it's partially natural because those parents know what happened to them. I was listening to some kids interview, and I keep saying kids, well, these guys were 18 and they were saying, I will never give my kid a smartphone until they're older because they lost their friends to porn and all sorts of stuff because they were
Mhm.
little. I mean, it's hard enough for you and me not to start doom scrolling, right? It is.
Yeah,
You just get sucked in. And I always say this to people, and I mean it. We are better than this. It is purposefully a dopamine rush. They are purposely keeping you on there. And it makes me really mad. And I know Facebook did an experiment, and I might have this wrong. So if you factually check me, I'm sorry, but I will try to get it kind of right. But it was again 2013 or 2014, they actually went into our feeds and they gave some people all negative content and some people all positive content. And it literally changed the way people were interacting on
right.
Facebook. And they said, and this, you guys want to get chills. They said they didn't change how you thought about things. They changed how you thought about things.
Wow.
Right. And I'm going, okay, I do not want the internet to raise the next generation. I don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. And you made an example earlier with smoking, with
Yeah.
cigarettes. And I think once you figure out that it's the powers that be that's putting the thought in your mind that you need a cigarette, by the commercials. When we were
Mhm.
kids, you remember Joe Cool?
Yes, it looked awesome.
Yeah,
I
looked
wanted
awesome.
to do it. Yeah,
Came on during Saturday morning
yeah.
school
And you look so sexy.
cartoons.
Everyone looks sexy. Like, I'm like, oh yeah.
Right. And this is all manipulation. This is all
Mhm.
other people putting things in your mind. And it's the same thing with this technology and social media.
Yeah, well, and it's the other thing that's really upsetting is when if you ever changed school or you started at middle school, right? You go into school and you would see what is the thing to do, right? You would watch the different groups and see what's socially acceptable, and then you pick people you want to emulate, and you'd have heroes, right? And that took a long time. A kid can go on Instagram and have that all happen in like 4 hours of scrolling, and their hero is some person who's only famous because they're famous.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's taken excellence and fame and like taking them apart. You used to be famous because you were excellent. Now it's like you're famous because, you know, I could say a lot of things, but you've done something
Yeah.
weird and now you're
Yeah.
famous.
They
And you
just
yeah,
you're famous because it
you
it's
did
so
something
it's
yeah, yeah, you did something
well,
stupid and now you're famous. And the
right.
kids are like, "Oh,
Or
I'm gonna do that too." No, no. Yeah,
exactly.
please don't.
Or in another sense, there's a guy online that like everybody hates. But the reason he's famous is because he's always online. That's
Yes.
how you just become familiar. It's familiarity.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So
then
that
they can't help themselves.
and you brought up another point too about the younger millennials. As I've been going out and speaking about this, and thank you so much for having me today because this is just awesome for me to have this conversation with you. But as as I'm going out speaking about this, it's really waking up even the older generations because we've been sucked into it. And as I've been living this and having to be an example, kids literally they don't do what we say; they do what we do. So this is going to have to be a change for all of us. And as I'm going out and saying this, it really is. A lot of people are just going, man, I do that too. And I've been starting to say to people, it's okay to be unreachable. Like leave your
Right.
phone behind. It's so like you said, like giggling is good for your soul. So is just like not having your phone next to you going, bloop, bloop. What I mean, you can't get anything done.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. And I'm in the marketing. I'm a marketer, and I have to tell other people to kind of get on camera and stuff like that. But when you're saying leave a phone behind, it takes everything in my power to record. I would never be a content creator because I will not record
You're
every
weird.
little thing.
I know. I can't do it. I tried because they were like, you need to be out online doing this. I can't. I just
Yeah, right. I can't.
but yeah,
I
that's
understand.
yeah. So that's the idea behind this. I just and it's and going back to how this started and why it's so important to me. You're in marketing. You cannot do anything, even put your socks on in the morning without imagining it, envisioning it first. And if we're taking vision and imagination out of our kids, how are they going to be when they're our age?
Yeah.
It's just and I am absolutely 100% confident that we are an awesome society and we can change this. I just know we can.
I think so too. And I think people are going to wake up to the powers that be.
Yes.
Mark Zuckerberg can take all of our data,
Uh-huh.
get sued, and then just do it again.
Just keep going. Yeah.
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 So I think as a society, we will remember the good times and wake up to being manipulated in a
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the algorithm is literally watching us. I mean, we all know. I know everybody know this, but you're thinking about something, it shows up in your feed. Okay,
Yeah.
that is freaky enough as an adult. And I keep saying, like, don't let that happen to your kids because what are they feeding them? Like
Right.
I tell this story. I think you will find it. You will just be like, I know you will find it funny. It was like 2014. I may have the date wrong again. I'm terrible with dates. And I'll never forget, I was in my office and I'm scrolling, I think on Facebook. And all of a sudden, this cover of a magazine comes up. And I thought my jaw dropped. And I sat there and I'm like, this is what my kids are seeing. Cause I wasn't anywhere weird. I would think I was on Facebook. Um, and it popped up and I was like, this is so, I can't imagine being a 12-year-old boy saying this. Okay, ready? This is what it was. It was Kim Kardashian's butt. Like, I can't. I just was like, my eyes were bleeding. It was, I don't know, she was on a thing then. I was like, why are kids seeing this? So it was another like, okay, we need to fix this problem. I
Yeah,
don't want,
yeah,
yeah, it was so upsetting to me. I can't imagine being a little kid seeing that. Ugh,
right,
yeah.
right.
I,
I get
and then
it.
what is it? I can't think of the word right now, but the more you see stuff like that, the more it just becomes normal to you. And that's not good for a little kid.
No, it's not.
Desensitizes. That's what I was trying to
It
say.
it it desensitizes.
Yeah.
Yes, you are correct.
So Kim
Um,
Kardashian's butt is a main driver for me, everybody.
there it is.
You're welcome.
There it is. Blame Kim Kardashian. Oh, so let me ask you this: going into the business aspect of it all,
Yeah.
how do you and how will you market this? Get it
Okay.
out to the masses.
So as I told you, as all the entrepreneurs may have heard me say, I didn't listen the first time I decided I was an entrepreneur because I knew everything. I think that's just human nature sometimes. So what we did back then is we built this huge website, and as I was saying, and it was 90 something pages because my husband and I were coming up with all these things, which by the way have been apps now since. So that was amazing that we came up with it back then. But because they weren't apps yet, it took a huge amount of money and a long time to build this website. And as I said, we came out right when apps came out. So I tried to come out and say, if I could be on here for an hour telling you everywhere Planet Fassa is going to go, but right now we're focusing on the app, and it's called Planet Fassa because my main character is Fassa. He was Mufasa, that he was my animal, but I didn't want to get sued by Disney, so it became Fassa, and it's FASSA because it's fun, activities, stories, service, and awards. That's everything you get. But to start out, we're just going down to the app, and we're going to have it's Fassa's Nuggets of Fun because these are just little nuggets that make your day fun. And so what I'm doing is, because last time I built this huge website in a vacuum. This time what I'm doing, we're building a prototype so people can come out and kind of see what it's like. And as we're building it over the next 2 months, I have free coloring pages. My books are out on Amazon. I have word searches, activities. Right now in the next couple of weeks, we're coming out with a car game package that you can go and download. So you, in the car, you're not putting your kids on the phone, you're actually playing like the license plate game and stuff like that that we used to play. So I'm starting to put stuff like that out there, and I'm trying to get people to become part of this community because this is a movement that I want to put together, and I'd like people to come with me on this movement. And once the app is ready, it will be a web app, and I'm going to put it out there for free. It won't have everything yet. And I'm going to ask for people to test it with their kids, tell me what they want, and we will build it the best we can that makes it easy for you, something that your kids want to do. So that's how I'm marketing it. I'm really making, and if you're on it and you and your kids come up with something, send it to us. We'll give you credit for it. I really want this to be a community, a village, because it takes a village to raise kids. I think that we have to do stuff like that. So it's getting people signed up, getting people interested in the app. Like I said, the books are out there. They're super fun. They're not expensive, and they're like the first one is $9.99 and it's 70 something pages because I just want to help parents. So that's how I'm marketing it. Just getting people used to the idea of doing this and then making it everybody's app, not what I think will work for you. Also, I'm old and I don't know how you young people, you know, are with apps now. And I'm just kidding, but actually, Rashad, you saw me trying to get my video camera. So I,
Yeah,
I just need other people to help.
right. I
Yeah.
get
I'm
it.
not
Trust
that
me.
old. I'm technology challenged. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Um, I am glad you are not only providing reading material, but material that is can be utilized. Have you went into Target and priced the kids' books in Target lately?
I know they're so expensive, aren't they?
They are so expensive.
Yeah. I want this to be accessible to people. And I know you had someone on, I can't think of her name, but she was a children's book author, and she was telling you when you sell your book on Amazon, you get like $2.
Right.
She was telling you that. Yeah, that is true. But it's okay at this point because it's going to be a huge movement, so it'll be fine. But yeah, I want to keep them accessible. And yeah, it will be great. And hopefully, Rashad, if I can get it together, and I will be able to, we will sell. There's 7 books total. I have 4 available right now, but I would love to sell them as a series to people so that you can get one a month, because then your kid and you are excited about getting it done. And they've got so much content in them. And hopefully at some point we'll have stuffed animals that can come with them, because then you get the little character that comes with them. And who doesn't love stuffed animals as a kid? I mean, I did. But that's kind of the hope going forward too, just to provide all stuff that's offline, fun for your kids. Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm excited about it.
I'm excited about it too. I can't wait to see this roll out. I'm definitely going to give you a follow.
Yay.
Um, so yeah, so anyone else out there that's listening, how can they follow you?
So everything right now is under my author name, which is SS Coulter. So it's up on the screen, but if you're listening, it's S as in Shannon, S as in Sue, and then Coulter is COULTER.com. So if you go to sscoulter.com right now, you can see all the books I have out there. There's a place that you can sign up if you want to be updated about the app, or if you want to be a beta tester. And there's the coloring pages and all sorts of stuff out there in the story. So that is the best place to go because it has links to everything. And if you want to contact me, there's a contact me out there. I'd love to talk to you. If you're like, hey, I have a bunch of activities, yay, tell me. And you do know activities. I'm telling people this right now because I was talking to a guy the other day and he brought up Punch Bug. Did you ever play Punch Bug in the car? Do you know Punch
No,
Bug?
it was probably called down south. It was probably called something else.
Oh, so it's when you drove by a VW Bug, you punched the other people in the car.
We didn't punch. We just called it out. But
Oh,
we
yeah,
didn't punch.
We hit each other up in Chicago. Yeah. But it was like he brought that game up and I'm like, I forgot about that game. And I know like once people start doing these games, you're like, oh yeah, because it's fun. It makes you laugh. You're like, oh yeah, I played that. That was fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they should bring all that back. Even the telling the 18-wheeler to honk their horn. You don't see that anymore.
Yes. Yeah,
simple stuff like that.
Simple. That's what I'm saying. This is super. There's some that are more complex than others. You'll have to go get a piece of paper and help your kids. But a lot of them are just one of my favorite things, Rashad, is my sister and I came up with this. We have something called quick hits. And there's 4 of them. So one's you're standing in line and you don't want to give your kid the phone. You hit in line on the app and it gives you like 10 things to do in the line at the grocery store to keep your kids going, right? We've got in the car. I just kind of said that one. We've got talk time. If you just want some stuff to talk to your kids about, just right there. And then one of my favorites is called parent time. It's literally stuff like to get the kid away from you for like 5 minutes. Just go away. So
yeah,
just super simple stuff like that.
Parents are going to love that one.
Yeah.
I have one for you.
Yes.
I have one for you. And it's based off this little tidbit in my life. I had for a little while moved down to Florida and was in Florida, and my kid was outside playing with his friend. They would play outside, but one day I gave him a jar, an empty jar, like a pickle jar, and I told him to go outside and catch some bugs. Florida has all kinds of bugs, lizards, all kinds of creatures. Oh. They was back in the house. They both came in 5 minutes later, and I said, "What happened? Why y'all not catching the bugs?" And they said, "We set the jar down there by the creek." So they were just expecting the bugs to just crawl in the jar. I said, "Oh my God. Oh my God." So if you
I'm writing bug in a jar. It's like, where have we gone wrong?
where have we gone wrong? So teach the kids how to catch, what was it? Lightning bugs. Lightning bugs,
yeah.
Yes, those type of crickets. I mean, grasshoppers. that type of stuff.
Yeah, I wrote it down, bug in a jar.
I thought it was common sense. I thought it was common sense,
Didn't you?
but
I know, me
evidently it's
too,
not.
but it's really not.
It's not. It's not. But
Oh,
oh my. Well, Shannon, this has been fun. This has been a good time.
this has been great. Yeah.
This is awesome. So anybody that's out there listening, if you have ideas, if you need someone, a lot of people out there are now talking about homeschooling, interested in homeschooling. Maybe this can get you a start. You
Yeah.
know, maybe kick that off some type of way, at least dealing with your kids, communicating with your kids. This is something that we definitely need, from an entrepreneur's perspective down to the parenting perspective. So Shannon, I want to thank you for speaking with my audience today.
Thank you guys for having me here and for giving me a listen. And this has just been really fun because talking to people is fun.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. And not just online.
Not just online. Here, go.
In real life. All right. So audience, I'm gonna let you go now. And always make moves, make money, and make memories.